have quorum?
Great, thank you.
Yeah. Yes. We're very healthy today. So,
Hmm.
yeah.
Great.
And
Good to go. Thank you.
Okay. Well, we'll try again. So first of all, I want to welcome everybody to the meeting. It's great to get everybody back together here, and also want to welcome Dale Mowry to our group here. As I said earlier, this is the best committee CRSC has, and I'm sure nobody will deny it. So anyway, I need a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll make that motion, Mr. Chair. Greg Erickson, City of Fredericton.
Seconder?
I'll second. Okay.
All those in favor,
Sure.
signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary by nay. Great, we're moving. Okay, is there any conflict of interest? Shouldn't be any conflict of interest. With there being no conflict of interest, we're gonna move on right straight to the presentation. So, Kim, I guess you're up.
Just trying to unmute myself here.
Right.
Thank you so much for having us back. I think we met with you folks it was over a year ago in August last year, and we've been extremely busy. So joining us today from the Alliance is Anna Beliveau, who is our CEO, and Danielle Connell is trying to join us, but she's having some internet connection issues. She is on the board of directors and is a farmer, sheep farmer in just outside Gagetown. So I'm just wondering, I had sent this slide presentation off and Danielle was actually going to share it. So I'm wondering if one of you folks, maybe Amanda, if you could share the presentation.
Actually, Mr. Chair, I have it all ready to go, so I can do that for you.
Okay, perfect.
Thank you so much.
Hi, Kim. Danielle here. The internet connection is quite spotty, but thanks for introducing me. Hi, everyone.
Hello.
Thank you,
Hi,
Danielle.
Danielle.
I'm glad that you were able to join us. And obviously, Danielle is located in the Commission's area as well. So it's great to have her with us here today. So essentially from last year, I gave you folks just an overview of agriculture in the 3 counties that the Commission covers. And I brought some of those slides back this year just as a reminder, but we really wanted to focus on what we've been up to over the last year and really to talk about the potential opportunities within the Commission area and things that you folks may want to be looking at and considering and how we could work with you because we're certainly supportive of agriculture development here in the province, and which we'll get into with some of our slides on some of the efforts that we are making right now. But we really see agriculture as a real opportunity from a business development perspective in the province. So if I could get you to, yes, move on to that slide. So just as an overview on agriculture is that it is a significant contributor to our economy and that there's over 1.7 billion to our GDP, which represents about 3.7%. And for those that are familiar with other resource-based sectors, is the forestry sector is always recognized as an important sector of the province, and it contributes 4.5. So for agriculture, it is significant. And we do believe that there's significant opportunity for growth. There's over 17,000 people that are employed throughout the province in agriculture, and that would include both direct and in your processing, manufacturing, as well as induced jobs. And I think for municipalities, it's really important to note that there's over close to $45 million annually that it contributes in your tax base to municipalities. And one of the things about New Brunswick and our agriculture industry, it is very diversified. And over the last 5 years, we've had almost a 70% increase in farm gate receipts. And it has been the fastest growing in Canada. So where others have slowed, we have continued to look at growth and the opportunities. Next slide. So this really is just, it captures information on, there's a couple things in this slide that I really wanted to bring to your attention was the land base that York, Sunbury, and Queens contributes. It's about 10% of the overall farmland base in the province is within those 3 regions. So that would be farming that, like farms that are currently in operation. The other thing I wanted to point out on this is that what we have experienced essentially in the last decade is a significant reduction in land being taken out of agriculture development. So if you look at from 2011 to 22, there's been a 30% reduction in farmland across the province. And if we continue that trend, it is going to have a significant impact on what we're doing from a productivity perspective, as well as areas that we would have available for future growth. Next slide, please. So one of the things that we really, when we think about agriculture in the Capital Region, is that it's more than just that primary production. And we're really pleased to be able to tell you today that some of the really great things that are happening here in the Capital Region is that UNB is actually looking at what role they can play in agriculture from an educational and career development perspective. And as you'll note in our slides further on, is that digital agriculture has been recognized as the next wave of productivity improvement and how we manage our lands right through the whole value system and reporting. And UNB are in the process of actually establishing a digital chair of agriculture. And so we're really pleased to be having that position created and really bringing a focus to looking at our future and both from a research perspective, but also looking at developing skills that we need in the farming community now and going forward. NBCC is also, you may recall quite some time ago, they did have an agriculture program that they stood down, I believe, sometime in the 80s, but they are reestablishing a 2-year sustainable agriculture program. And it's going to be housed here in Fredericton, and their first cohort, they're planning for 2026 next fall. So that's really exciting as well. We also have the Research and Productivity Council, and I think that on agriculture, and certainly Danielle can further explain some of the work that they're doing, but it is a resource that I think that we're underutilizing right now in the agriculture from food manufacturing and processing efficiencies, and really looking at some of the skills and expertise they have to bring to our farming community. And of course, within the region, you have a diverse group of operations from cattle, sheep, vegetable production, small fruits. We have cranberry operations. There's maple, and we have chicken farms in the area. And one of the areas, like if you look down the River Valley system, is certainly our apple production has been there. And I think something else that we've really been having a look at is the opportunity for agritourism in the region, and that we really believe, and there's already existing operations, but there is a lot more that could be done within the Capital Region Commission for sure, and throughout the province. Danielle, I'm thinking for the next slides, do you want to run through those and then we can get to questions at the end?
Sure. Mm-hmm. Okay, so at Ag Alliance, we've been working the last over a year on 2 strategies. One kind of they're very much working hand in hand. So the cultivating prosperity is our growth strategy. We engage portfolio consulting to help us, and we've been working with them for multiple years. So that's our growth strategy. That's going to inform the coming Department of Agriculture action plan. So we are lining up our ducks with the Department of Agriculture. So this is a partnership that we're going to collaborate together and use all of the community engagement work that we did with farmers and the supply chain, and they're going to incorporate that into their action plan for the next 5 years. And out of that, that we're pushing out at the same time because it's so critical, is the digital agriculture strategy. It's got tentacles in lots of things that we've got going on, not just living labs, of which there are multiple sites for living lab agricultural test sites for research and development, farmer learning. So the digital agriculture strategy is more focused, and we're building along in tandem with the research chair that's coming in at UND, because we think they're really going to be a champion for all of these things. So let's pop to the next one.
I'm sorry I disappeared, but I'm having internet.
There we go. Okay, so am I coming through okay? I didn't quite
You
hear
are
what you
right
said,
now,
John.
Danielle, but the last couple of sentences I think we missed.
A little jump. Okay, pardon me. So diving into the strategy, 5 key themes, 5 key sector needs that were identified by farmers. So fair and competitive investment, and that is a reflection of systemic historical underfunding of agriculture in our province by the federal government for many reasons. But there's a big push right now looking at funding, equivalent funding, fair funding for provinces as compared to the rest of the country. So we do have a fair bit of knowledge on that at the moment. Accessible farmland is a huge one, and I'm sure it's on your folks' radar. It's also Department of Agriculture is very focused on the farmland identification program and reforms to it, with the purpose of making land more accessible. The third is healthy workforce. That touches a lot of things where it's physical health, mental health, access to labor, and working conditions and fair wages. Then on to sustainable energy and climate resilience. After the summer we've just had, I think we all have a good idea of why that's on the list. And sustainable energy, our farmers are really keen to be part of renewable energy projects, but their hands are a little bit tied. So we're really to how things are set up in Nova Scotia, where it's much more friendly business environment for farmers to be producing energy to put on the grid. And the last is looking within the province, the markets that we have available to us, and outside of the province. So the overarching goal of the strategy is to position New Brunswick agriculture as a pillar of rural economic growth, food security, and climate smart innovation. And the next slide is the digital strategy. There we go. So as a small scale sheep farmer, this strategy actually I found very exciting, and I can't wait to get this into the hands of farmers, because it speaks to the small, medium, and the large operations. It actually addresses real life issues that all farmers are facing. So it's very exciting that New Brunswick is coming out with this. Again, 5 pillars: ag tech adoption, automation, sensors, data platforms, big data, rural broadband, and infrastructure. So you can tell I'm trying to do business from my farm, and I can hardly do a Zoom call. So we've got a lot of work to do there. And it's pretty difficult for farmers to gather big data if they have to pay for 4 different Starlink subscriptions because they have fields all over the place. Digital skills and education, this is really geared towards not just the younger folks coming in, but also those that are, they're in their 50s and they might have another 10 or 20 years of farming ahead of them. They need to get up to speed too. So it's multi-generational gaps that we need to address. Data governance and agriculture intelligence. So this is where we're working a lot with UNB's New Brunswick Institute of Data Research and Training, which has been rebranded as Data NB. They have absolutely fantastic data sets about all of us, many, 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 many layers, but it is a StatsCan protected, authorized site to protect all of our health and economic data and all kinds of social data. So we'd like to work with NB to tell a story, especially with municipal partners to help make smart data decisions. The last one is smart innovation hubs and funding access. So the innovation hubs where they could be experimental farms, they could be demonstration sites, probably lots of different things, and funding access. So that would be, helping farmers get access to funding strategy projects, with the goal again making Brunswick a leader in precision sustainable ag. And the last slide. Oh, maybe it's not last. Also, Kim, did you want to do these last, or did you get different?
Sure, I can. Thank you, Danielle. And you certainly have brought to everyone's attention the need for us to have better infrastructure on our for internet and so forth. So essentially, when we really wrap all those 2 strategies up, they really are focused on a number of key areas. And one is really looking at that land access and succession. So ensuring that we're farming up the right land, we're protecting it, and lands that are suitable for agriculture, is that there's consideration being given to those lands, and as opposed to allowing them to be used for other activities. One of the things that farmers are faced with, we continue to increase our farm gate receipts, but they are significantly challenged with increase in costs. And actually, New Brunswick farmers, I think, have the highest debt ratio, which ties back into funding that has been and financing that's been available for the industry, because there's been investments that have been made, and it's been made by the farmers. So that all contributes to their ability to be profitable. And so the measures that we've identified within our strategies is really to help focus on bringing costs down and improve the overall profitability of farms. Skilled labor is a major consideration and challenge, given that we do have an aging workforce, and with the use of new technology is really ensuring that we have the right skills that are needed on working on farm operations and throughout the value chain. The other area would be dealing with just climate change and how we are looking at mitigation of those changes. And we believe that with the use of digital technologies, is that we are going to be able to collect data that's going to help make informed decisions on where we farm, what we farm, and that it's helping us to address those challenges that are currently being faced when you look at lack of water and so forth. The last one that I will mention is the whole reporting. So if you look at digital agriculture, is that collection of data and then being able to report through to the value chain, because most of the large producers, processors, have made commitments on reduction of emissions, and 75% of those emissions happen at the farm. So it's really placing pressure on the farmers to make changes, which they are, but it's our ability to take all that data that we're collecting and be able to tell that story on what is being done in the reduction of emissions on farm operations to meet the commitments that have been made by the processors. And then the last slide that we put together is really when we think about what we are trying to do in supporting the agriculture industry, and then if we look at it at a commission level, we've just identified a few things here that we feel may be things that the commission may want to take into consideration to help support and ensure, or I guess to consider agriculture as one of your economic pillars within the region. And one of the things that we think would be really important would be to have if it hasn't been done, is to do mapping of your existing operations in the region, because it would give you the footprint of where they are located right now. And then the second part of that is really to look at what lands are really suitable for farming activity. And is there consideration to protecting those lands for future growth of the sector? So that's really talking about a regulatory environment that helps support farm development and also supports maintaining lands that are suitable for agriculture as those being protected for future growth within the industry. And of course, as you grow the industry, things that we believe and things that we've been feeling is the workforce needs. So really focused on support for developing the right skills and awareness with people, even in New Brunswick, of the opportunities in agriculture. And what we have found when we have tried to look at development is housing is a major issue. Like for the seasonal workforce, for example, we have requirements by farm operations for people, but when they're in rural communities, housing becomes an issue for them. So that is another thing that we would suggest that you may want to have a look at. And the agritourism food strategy, we really feel that there's real opportunity for building on what we already have here in the region and taking it to the next level. So those are just some thoughts we wanted, I guess, to leave, and certainly would be more than happy to have any questions or your thoughts as well on how we could be working with you.
Okay, well, thank you very much for the presentation. I do have a question. You mentioned that there's a 30% reduction in farmland over the last little bit. What was the major reason for that?
I would suggest that it's probably urban crawl out into rural areas. Okay. So I just know where I live up in the Upper Kingsclear area is that a lot of that farmland has turned into housing.
Okay.
Danielle, do you have any
I would also say it's a lot. Yeah, I would say it's a lot of farmers aging out, and no one has succeeded them. Here in Arcadia, within 10 kilometers of me, I would say there's probably 20 farms where they were actively working the land 20 years ago, but no one has lived in the house for 10 years. The barns are still fine. The fields are still somewhat clear, but it could be in the flip program, and the inheritors just don't want to deal with it because they live in town somewhere away. So there's a lot of vacant land that is just dormant. It's the real frustration.
So Danielle, it would really be the succession, like with farm operations, where there haven't been, if in a family is that they haven't been taken over by family members.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Does anybody else have any questions or comments about the presentation? Oh, CEO John.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Kim and Anna and Danielle, for the presentation. I had seen this similar to this a few weeks ago, Mr. Chair, through the CEO group from around the province with the RSCs, and thought it was imperative that we bring it forward. We also, there's direct synergies, Kim and Anna and Danielle, with our, our Vision 2030 that's being developed to be implemented through Ignite. In terms of that, because the natural resources is one of the pillars within that. We actually have Ignite, spoiler alert here, coming in next month for to present their work plan and stuff. So certainly some opportunities there. I was wondering on the mapping of the agricultural operations. We've been very efficient at getting recreation and sport, and some cultural and faith venues, and even healthcare venues mapped in the province and on our website. Is this something, I guess, to any of the group that are here, is this something that you're looking at that you would need done, or is this done but needs to be promoted more? In terms that I've started the conversation with our planners, looking at how we look at that moving forward. To your point, Kim and Danielle, I mean, between urban sprawl and farmers aging out, there's, and that land becomes valuable because oftentimes somewhere along there it was probably connected to a water supply of some sort, so subdivisions tend to go up, or McHouses or whatever you call them, the large ones from out that are built outside, the urban areas. And I'm just wondering, have those assets been mapped that currently exist, or is there something there that we might be able to assist with?
So, John, that's a great question, and I'll take a stab at it, and then certainly I'm sure that Anna or Danielle may have some comments on it. I know that the department is actively looking at trying to map out where current lands are, and they would have that as part of their FLIP program, and then lands that have been previously used as well. We've also had discussion with UMB, and because of their data management and what they may have available through Geodesy, we feel that there's a real opportunity to work with the university to actually look at mapping those areas out, and to provide, like in this case, the commission with a map that would show where all the farming land is and what has been used over the last several decades as well. And we think that there's information that they would have available, exercise as well. And, so I think that there may be opportunities for collaborating on how they're doing it. But I really think it really provides an asset map of what you do have in the region, and areas that, if we want to promote and support future growth, it's farms that have been used in the past.
Okay. And I guess just one other thing, Kim, where we're kind of on a number of the subjects here. I guess a couple of things. The agritourism, is that mostly meant for those who desire to come and have that farm experience and work on a farm? Or is that also to tour the production farms in terms of that? Because there's kind of there's multiple streams to that. And I'm just wondering where the Agricultural Alliance sees that going within that.
That's a great question as well, John. And Danielle, I don't know, do you want to take that question, or do you want me to start and you add in?
No, I can speak to it. As long as you guys can hear what I'm saying. can answer. I think looking at the full gamut with the goals of educating the public, gaining an appreciation for food security, where food comes from, having fun experiences, and increasing access to local food. So it can be an agritourism opportunity, could be as simple as visiting a farm gate spot where you can hang out and pick apples, to you can still meet and glamping cottage and live off grid and have experience down on the river, to something quite fancy where you can rent a space for a special event. I think we have all of those things in the capital region. So it has to be farmer. Farmers do this for free. Their time is as it is. But the outcomes of good agritourism are multifold and are good for the region, for the farm, for the community. So agritourism is going to be a big thing. It's part of those international students that need something to do on Saturday morning, and they have money in their pocket and they're cool. It's people visiting from Australia. I had a tour bus of 40 Australian sheep farmers come in last month. So it's big, small, and everything in between. It's got to make sense for the farm, so everything unique, but huge opportunity.
Yeah, and Danielle, I really appreciate your efforts on here today, and I noticed that some are indicating they're having difficulty hearing and stuff. So, but I understand, in terms of that, you were talking about it being a multi-pronged approach in terms of how we could develop that, and that's certainly something that should be explored as well because of the nature of it. And I think by the very nature of your ability to connect today, and I know that Director Mowry was having a bit of a time there as well. Certainly talks about how we got to get that rural broadband up and running and getting better connections and better services in our rural areas. It's hard to sell a product if you can't connect with the rest of the world, in terms of that. So I appreciate what you've done here. I guess, Kim, one last thing, and then I'll stop my rant of questions here for the members. And just on the housing, to house, seasonal or temporary workers, is that more directed towards temporary foreign workers, or is it more directed to seasonal folks that readily come in? I'm just trying to explore that little bit more in terms of that.
Yeah. John, it would be a combination of both. So certainly for bringing folks in from other countries to work, but we have a shared workforce program that we launched 3 years ago. And that program, what we have found is that if it's beyond an hour's drive, it is not feasible. So a lot of our newcomers to the province have arrived either in Fredericton, St. John, or Moncton. We have over 700 job seekers that are registered in those 3 urban areas. And we constantly struggle with placement on farms because our farms are in rural areas. So it becomes an issue even for people to work that are living here in the province to actually go to farm operations on a temporary basis.
Could I make a comment?
Yes, Director Mallory.
Hey, listen, I'm involved with the wood marketing board and I have been for years. And it just started just as this past year that farmland, if we replant old farmland due to the regulations from the European Union, we cannot cut that and harvest it. JDI will not buy that wood off of farmland that's been replanted and harvested. Also, St. Anne, Nakiwek, the same way. We have to sign a paper as a woodlot owner where my wood came from, and it can't come from farmland that has been harvested from, like where I planted. So that's a new thing that's just came up this last year, and right now that's the way it is. Farmland has, as far as European Union, farmland has to be used as farmland. A lot of us farmers who used to be farmers, a lot of our land is starting to grow up inwood, but but we have to sign a paper. If we cut off that farmland that's been grown up, we have to sign a paper before it can be shipped.
Okay. Well, that's
I can get information on that as well.
okay.
Mr. Chair, if I may, I apologize. I don't see anyone else with their hand up. If I might jump just in there for a moment. Kelly, one of the great things about having staff that have worked in multiple areas of the commission, Kelly has a background in the development officer role, and she was saying when we were talking about the maps that we could do that pretty easily if we had the PID numbers from from the FLIP program or from the department. We could develop that map pretty easily in the region.
Okay. Is there anything else? Does anybody else have any questions? Okay, I want to thank you for coming and giving us a presentation, and I'm sure our CEO will be reaching out to her shortly with more questions directed from us. And then I think it was a wonderful idea to have our CEO experience the farm as a farmhand. I think that's wonderful, and he could report back to us. So.
Okay, so the other day in community development, I got the ribbing from Director Erickson there. So I just want to say today there, Mr. Chair, I actually have been around farms when I was young. My father's family were multi-seasonal farmers and fishers and everything. So the harvesting of the wood and the harvesting of the crop and the as we used to call it, the dressing of the animals is not foreign to me. So, but I do appreciate that because I don't live that life today. I normally forage around Sobeys or Costco or Superstore or somewhere local or Victory or somewhere. But yeah, but I do have to say I have been there, but I appreciate it.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. It was a great.
Thank you. Thank you again for having us. And certainly as you go forward, we are certainly here as a partner, and any level of collaboration, most happy to work with you, and certainly look forward to any other questions or opportunities that we can work with you to really look at the economic development opportunities here in your region.
Okay. Thank you. Okay.
Yeah.
We're going to move to the general discussion and direction to staff portion. Anybody have any suggestions? I do think that maybe if we could direct our CEO to reach out to Chaleur and see how that process is going, that they're, it might be that they've looked at it and it becomes very cumbersome, or maybe it's going very smooth and quite easy for us to look at. So that might be the start to see how we move forward here.
No problem at all.
Okay.
Anything further, Mr. Chair? Or?
I don't really see anything. Oh, Susan, are you?
No, nothing coming to my mind that we can send them out to do.
Okay. All right. Well, it looks like
still
you got an easy workload from us.
Well, there's nothing wrong with that. We are it is busy season and all, so it is good. But Mr. Chair, we thank you for that, and that'll give us our direction, and we'll report back at the next meeting to the committee, and then we'll put a report into the board as well on actions leading out of that. And we will, if it's okay, Mr. Chair, with you and the members of the committee, I'd also like to suggest that maybe we tease out the what that would look like on the mapping. Just very briefly, like just if it's something that we can do in-house or pretty cost effective. I think that's it, because the farming in our region, recently I was out with the chair of the Community Development Committee, Director Duplessis, and the farming that's happening in and around our capital city, in and around out in Oromocto, and then into all of the other communities that surround the center, if you will, in the region. It's pretty vast. It's pretty extensive. But like Director Mowry said, we have to make sure that we're following all the rules, and we can't just do what we want in terms of that. There's people, our other business partners, and we're trying to diversify our economy based on tariffs. Well, I think we need to look at our own backyard and make sure that we have it right as well. So.
Right. No, that sounds great.
Mr. Chair, could I speak?
You may.
Okay, I was just thinking, like if you go on geo mapping and you start looking at your tax bills and things, like they're identified as farmland, it would be interesting to note, like if you could just pull that off geo maps and say, give me all the farms, and then it would be interesting to see if that 500-acre farm is actually being farmed, or if it's only 5 acres or 20 acres or all 500.
Yeah. Okay, well, that's a good suggestion. And, first we'll look at the mapping, see how hard that will be to get that. And then that's just a refinement to it, to where we're going.
Yep.
Mr. Chair, just in closing on that, if you want me to go up to Chaleur, I would gladly go up and meet, I believe it's the CEO and her husband from the region up there. They own a vineyard. So,
well, maybe I should go with you, I guess.
Yeah.
maybe
now
the whole
everybody
group
wants
should go.
in, like
I think that sounds like a committee road trip. That we
That's
should
right.
probably
Yeah.
have. So Friday would be nice.
Okay.
Yes.
On that note, it sounds like we better have a motion to adjourn.
Oh dear, we have more fun.
Yeah.
This is the committee to be on.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Oh, we need a motion to adjourn.
All right.
So
I
first,
motion we adjourn to Chaleur.
Okay. And seconder? We're
Greg
adjourned.
Erickson.
Thank you.